Namaste.
Good afternoon,
Namaste,
ma'am.
ma'am.
Namaste, ma'am. Namaste. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon,
Good afternoon, madam.
good afternoon, sir. You are already in the verge of winding up your OP now, maybe 1 or 2 more days. I know you are exhausted, but still today I thought, you being young teachers, I thought, like, let us also understand the wellness in teaching and learning. The current scenario is so different because I have seen 25 years of teaching life. And now you people are, maybe if you are very fresh, maybe if you are maybe within 5 years of experience. So let us have a debate or have a healthy discussion on the scenario that is happening today. Because with my concern, now the education system is demanding student-friendly, student-centered teaching learning process, wherein the teachers are getting really, I don't know, I don't want to put it in words also, but teachers are quite stressed up with so many changes in the system and expectations. So towards that, just to have an internal journey or towards ourselves, or we take a journey within ourselves, saying we are teachers, I have taken up this topic. To start with, let us start understanding what the word wellness is. Yeah. Wellness is defined theoretically, right? If you take the word wellness theoretically, they say it is an active, conscious pursuit of activities, choices, and lifestyles that lead to the holistic health and well-being. So it is whatever you choose very consciously, very purposefully, and you're acting upon it, and you know what you are doing, how you're doing, and when you're doing. That is called wellness. Right. So this wellness is a terminology which is mostly focused in my session on teachers, because we all are teachers. Let us understand where we are neglected, where we are given extra, focus, and where we are need to be shift upon towards addressing Gen Z, population. So actually, this wellness is one terminology which involves a continuous proactive efforts to thrive mental, physical, emotional, and social fitness. See, when you look into the terminology defined by WHO for the concept of health, we say physical, mental, social, and spiritual. Wherein, when you really come to the concept of wellness, it doesn't really involve the spirituality, rather, it says emotional. So when a teacher is looking into their roles and responsibilities very positively, the most highlighting element here is the emotional intelligence, or EI, or EQ, however, whatever we call. So teacher having emotionally balanced, being emotionally balanced, or teacher having capacity to handle the emotions of the students, both are blended here. That is where we say social fitness also, wherein we need to have a very good rapport with the students, and how we have to have it very professionally. That is how we are looking into the wellness in general. When we come to educational institutions, the same word wellness is understood in a holistic framework to help the students to manage their stress, build resilience. I mean, you are helping the student to build the resilience, and also balancing their academic pressures with personal growth. So totally, the wellness is uh, in the educational situations or institutions right now, it is basically focused on students' well-being. Where is the teachers' well-being? That is the question I always have in my mind throughout my 24-25 years of teaching experience. The moment a educational institution comes in, the people think that teachers has to focus upon students' well-being, students' capacity, and you have to promote the students in a very positive way. But to promote the positive way, even teachers do have to have certain capacity, and they also will be having certain challenges in addressing the issues with students. So this concept, while understanding the concept of well-being in today's 1 hour slot, it says teaching is highly demanding emotional labor. That is, it is not only no more the teaching is connected to your knowledge. It is no more it is connected to the teacher's personality, their attitude, or whatever it was expected in the previous era of teaching. That is also, of course, protected. It is not neglected here, but also they say it is an emotional labor. So that is where we need to equip ourselves. When you really have to work with somebody's emotions, how better we have to equip with our emotions. It is quite demanding, but quite laborious and quite burdenful also sometimes to the teachers. That is what we are discussing in next maybe 40-45 minutes, right? So this is something that is where it is emotional labor, and true wellness in education is cyclical. They say it is cyclical. It is because cyclical in the sense here we need to understand how education is cyclical, because here to define or make you understand what is cyclical, there is teaching, learning, and well-being, which is triangly connected, right? When you are teaching, you're not only teaching the subject, you're not only trying to help the student to learn whatever the technical subjects you're teaching. You also have to work as a stress reducer, or you have to increase the cognitive capacity of the student, or these are somewhere it is interconnectedly, if you are increasing the cognitive capacity of the child or the student, and then you are trying to reduce the stress, academic stress, or whatever the kind of stress the student is facing, under the label mentorship, they also want you to address their emotional aspects also. So it is not so easy. So it is an overall development of the child. Last week when I was attending one government meeting at the government department, they were mentioning teachers, whether it is male teacher or a female teacher, they are kind of the second mother to the student. And there I was really confused, because where is mother and where is teacher? If you blend up these two, then the teacher is really burdened upon, because mother role is also very sensitive and very crucial, whereas teacher's role is also that. And they are parallel, they just cannot be one. That is how I understand. But that especially the government department was mentioning that the teachers also are kind of second mother of the students. So then what are they expecting, what the system is expecting from the teacher's point of view? I was little disturbed. It is too much for the teachers to handle so many dimensions of the students. And then it requires equal investment in both the adults who manage the classroom and the students who absorb it. So when it is cyclical, when it is emotional, in a classroom, except the four walls and some infrastructure, there are two life members. One is teacher and one is the student. So you have to act in these both the fields. Like, you are the teacher, you have to look into yourself, and you also have to look into the welfare of the or well-being of the student. And you are whatever the duration of each class, maybe 1 hour, 2 hours. If it is continuous 2 hours of class you have one particular day, then 2 hours you are emotionally draining out, not only sharing your knowledge, not only putting your physical efforts, you are also emotionally getting drained. So these are some of the things that I want you all to discuss with me, because I also want to know how are you people understanding these elements in your working areas. When it comes to the students part, it is when a student's basic social and emotional needs are met, their capacity for deep critical learning expands dramatically. This is the science statement made in par with the students. And they say the better the teacher or better the social and emotional needs addressed by the teacher with the students, then the students' capacity is getting dramatically expanded. That is what science says. And for this classroom, dynamics need to be managed very fairly, because what education we have got, of course, you are so much younger to me. That is what I understand from Sir Nanjana, I mean, Director Sir. Uh, um, Dynamism is quite fairly to be managed, Andre. We all are addressing Gen Z students nowadays. Is not so easy to do it. Then what is that dynamism that refers to generally? That is the interaction and relationship between teacher and the students, where teacher drive the quality of learning climate or learning environment, balancing their authority and teaching methods to foster engagement, build trust, and manage behaviors. So this is basically blending the new generation, new trends, and new expectations in the education field, and to the prior, I mean, where we in India, we consider teaching is, or guru is one a precious position that any individual has in his own lifespan. So Guru Devo Bhava is one such thing. So maintaining that, you also have to cater the needs of current generation. That is, right now it is Gen Z who are really we are handling not easy tasks. But here the expectation is you have to foster engagement with the students, build their trust level, and manage their behaviors. So here I just want to share my experience. There are so many very good colleges, private colleges especially. They are having counselors in their colleges and in the schools, and they have all kind of infrastructure facilities extended to the students. Of course, they collect a good lot of fee also for that. And in that level, teachers are trained and trained and trained so much to that level that teachers are busy identifying the child's mistakes, right? If see that is the age they do the mistakes. Of course, yes, we all are teaching and we know they are adults, because I'm talking to the teachers from higher education. They all are adults, but still age appropriate mistakes will be happening, and how we being the teachers are addressing those problems is a question, right? Here we just have to look into building the trust. If you keep complaining the students or being very friendly with the students, then managing the behavior will become a challenging factor. So you have to, teacher has to build a climate or a learning environment in your class, whichever, how much ever the duration you are getting into the class. Like, it may be 1 hour. Within 1 hour, in your presence, what kind of a climate you want to build up. See, it changes from teachers to teacher depending on their capacity, their thinking process, and their beliefs, and many other things, right? So how are you building that 1 hour of duration in the class with the students matters a lot in whatever they are saying, fostering the engagement, building the trust, and managing the behaviors. So we just have to be more sensitive with this Gen Z students in managing their behaviors. It is quite challenging right now. Then, wellness in teaching and learning is an interconnected framework where the psychological, social, physical health of both educator and the students directly determines academic success. See here in the next point, it says neuroscience shows students' brain mirroring the emotional state of the teacher. See, this is where we need to be extra careful, though we find it very heavy from our side, because they say if you are in the classroom with the students for 1 hour, that means to say you are acting upon the brain functioning or brain structural functioning of the student. Because they say neuroscience, it's not me saying something, but it says you are your emotional state, your characteristics, personality characteristics are mirrored with the brain structure or brain functioning of the students. So that is where we feel it is so much important to be more positive and carry a positive emotional status, you being a teacher. So that is something, again, the primary responsibility falls on us, because they are younger to us. Then the stressed educator inadvertently passes stress to the classroom, which actively blocks cognitive function and memory formation in the learner. See, if you are stressed up, if you are not in a right mood to enter into the classroom, then that wave creates certain cognitive blocks in the students and their memory formation. Memory formation will become weak because their perception, their access to your knowledge may not be very easily going there. It is blocked. That is where they may not understand what you're saying, or they may not really looking into the positive elements that you are rendering to them. Certainly, there is a conversality. Prioritizing wellness transforms the educational space from a site of high anxiety into an optimal, high performing learning environment. So it is not that all anxiety leads to negative results. Sometimes anxiety and a positive stress can also give a positive learning environment. So how are you connecting all those in your 1 hour of duration in the classroom is your prime responsibility. That is what NEP and school health and wellness program also demands through UNESCO, NCRT and CBSE. That is maybe the lower education pattern, but those lower educated children are entering into our zone, which wherein we also have to be a bit sensitive about their basic structures or basic education system. Further, in theory, I mean, I'm just looking into the learning principles and learning theories. Based on that, I'm just talking all this. They have enlisted 8 interconnected dimensions for educators. That is we. For our wellness, what are the 8 dimensions that we need to consider for our betterment? The first thing is emotional aspects, managing our own stress. And of course, as I said, the system is expecting us to manage the stress of the student also, and expressing the feelings effectively. This is where we need to be very dynamic. Sometimes it so happens, the teacher will be revealing their personal information with the students, right? Without any filter. So, ventilating yourself in front of the students is a bit sensitive issue. So, expressing the feelings effectively need to be done with extra careful, interventions. We cannot give all our personal information to them, nor our personal experiences. Certain things need to be filtered and then expressed with the students. In sometimes it so happens with some teachers, in the flow they will be sharing so many things with the students, which may in turn may not be landing up with the positive outcomes. So need to be extra careful in expressing the feelings effectively with the when the students are around, and maintaining a positive attitude despite classroom challenges. Definitely, a classroom is a challenging area for any teacher, for that matter, who thinks that uh, they have teaching responsibilities. I'm not generalizing things, but the moment you enter into the class, majority of the teachers, we definitely feel that we are entering into a challenging situation, no matter how experienced you are, right? So maintain the positive attitude, be positive, no matter how the students behave. It doesn't mean that you have to disturb the decorum of the classroom, but to maintain the classroom decorum also, we may have to have positive attitude. That is, we need to take a lot of things from this Gen Z students, whether you like it or not. That doesn't mean that you are entertaining them for something not worth, right? So for that matter, the second point, the second element comes into picture, saying that it is environmental. Creating your own environment the moment you get into the students. See, we all have gone through the studenthood. We know when one teacher comes in, we can sense a different kind of climate around us or environment. The moment the second teacher comes in, for her or his class, we understand it is another kind of mode we are entering. And in our time, we may not be very sensitive about these changes, but Gen Zs, they are literally focusing on all this thing, right? Oh, teacher X comes in and this is the environment. The moment teacher Y enters, this is how we have to learn. They are very calculative. So we need to be more conscious about creating a climate or an environment wherever you are, right? I'm not generalizing things. You are an unique teacher, unique person. You have to create something of your own taste and your own capacity, which is positive nature, right? Then financial aspects, they say in that 8 dimensions, teachers' financial aspects also matters. I mean, influence about their contribution in the classroom. Even I was surprised when I started reading all these things. Okay, fine. So indirectly, directly or indirectly, that element is also influencing the teacher's capacity in learning and delivering the knowledge. That is where attitude and maybe your communication, maybe your body language, non-verbal communication, all this matters when it comes to the financial aspects. That's what they say. Managing personal resources and budgeting to reduce monetary stress also helps you in providing quality teaching. See, it is true also. In fact, that is where in the earlier stages, teachers would get good lot of holidays, good lot of vacation when compared to any other professions, right? That is so because to rejuvenate the student, you have to get rejuvenated first, right? If you have a lot of stress, if you have a lot of constraints at home, and you being very positive in the classroom may not be possible, because we are also human beings. For that matter, they would in the maybe when we were in the school, kind of like 3 decades, 4 decades back, the teachers would get, though the small salary, sufficient holidays, sufficient space for themselves, so that they'll come back and literally monitor the students' knowledge, attitudes, behaviors, EIU, SQ, EQ, whatever the list we make with quotients. All that was monitored by the teacher, because he himself was rejuvenated. Probably in that dimension, they have mentioned financial aspect is also one thing which rules our capacity to reach another person. Then comes intellectual. Of course, I don't have to say anything much, because teaching is a intellectual platform where your exposure, your experience also matters when you're reaching the student. So I don't go much into it. Then occupational, how is your job satisfaction? How is your workload? How are you balancing? What are the positive reinforcement you are getting from your administration or your authorities, whomever it is? That also contributes how you are teaching in the classroom. If your personality is not recognized, if you are not motivated properly, then the way you enter into the classroom itself, the students will be understanding in what energy level the teacher is coming and how they have to behave, because Gen Z's are very sensitive with their mental health also. So we need to be considering this dimension also to be a good teacher. Then the physical, of course, we will be standing for hours, speaking hours together, and voice box sometimes go so tired, and sometimes your cognitive level may go blocked because of the stress with the personal life and the professional life. All these things can be influencing on your physical factors. Then comes the social factors, another important element which can disturb a teacher very, very, very core. What they say, fostering the supportive relationship with students, colleagues, family, and other broader community also matters. With respect to students, it is very much important what quality of interconnected relationships you have with your students, with your colleagues, of course, with special priority, and of course with your whole college administration is so important. If that was disturbed, probably a teacher may not be giving his 100% to the students. And the last one comes into as spiritual. So here, spiritual is not meditation. It is not chanting shloka and sitting something or doing, or it's nothing like that. It is, see, teaching has its own significance, and understand that significance. Be professional and be quiet in your personal life. So if you are balancing the personal and professional life, positively or successfully, then that part may be called as spiritual here. And then, having these dimensions, teaching in the classroom in the current scenario is such a challenging factor. We just come to the academic part. It says severe post pandemic learning and social gaps after pandemic disturbances. Teaching has become such a challenging factor for any teacher, no matter they are fresh, they are well experienced, whatever it is, whatever the status of teaching experience is there with a teacher. That social gap has really created abundant burden on the teacher. Addressing that, you may have to learn not only psychology, whatever the different kinds of disciplines, multidisciplinary approaches demanded in today's context of teaching at a higher level. It's not so easy, right? And then comes extreme skill variances, of course. Yes, with this AI and many other technical updates, it's not that we are not updated, may not be as updated as the youngsters. Many a times it's that skill differences are coming in, that may be reducing the confidence of the teacher when they are really addressing the students. Of course, this skill variance effects on the teacher may depend upon different types of community, whether it is rural, whether it is urban, or kind of and whom are you addressing, what kind of a population you are addressing in the classroom, all those things, right? So skill is another thing. And chronic absenteeism, we all know the attendance factor is such a big headache right now. Our management is not ready to, or our authorities are not ready to fail anybody or pass anybody. There's a lot of confusion with absenteeism. They are very chronic. They are not I mean, that is how I sense in my 24 years of teaching experience, how the first decade of students were there, and now how the students are there. And maybe after COVID, students, absenteeism is very regular thing. It is getting them on track is the challenge, biggest challenge for the teachers, because of their absenteeism. What is happening, whatever you have taught in last week or last 2 days, they may not be following, so they are sitting so blindly in front of you, and you go really losing your focus the way they are sitting blind, I mean blank. So these are the interconnected effect that you have in the classroom. And then social emotional delays, of course. Yes, they are not quick enough in certain elements where you are quick, and there are certain elements we may not be quick enough as they are. That is what AI and gadget addictions or gadget dependency is upon. If you are saying something and they are not really getting interested with your pace or with your flow or with your thought process giving on one subject, they may be getting really deviated from the focus, and they may be looking into the same information on their gadgets, what exactly they want and what we are saying. So all these things makes them socially delayed, emotionally delayed. Maybe it may be mutual, from sometimes maybe with the teachers, and many times from the students part. And also AI, again disturbing. The teachers are burdened with digital detectiveness. Like, you have to search whether the students are giving their best, original or not. If it is not original, then you have to detect, and because you have to evaluate that performance also. That's a hugest responsibility a teacher has, having this digital detective burden on the teachers. Of course, that originality and being patientfully evaluating their performance is again becoming a challenge. And teachers are not left only with that part. They are overwhelming administrative workload. because you are very potential teacher, because you're very enthusiastic teacher, because you are a very good performer, you are caught hold by the administration. Of course, if we are sitting in the administration, we also would do who are good performers, catch hold of them and make them work more. And is that unpaid extra hours motivating you or demotivating you? That is again a factor, right? If you're doing a very good, extra responsibility, you're really giving justice to the extra responsibility given to you, or extra hours of work you are rendering to the college, and that is acknowledged in one official platforms, that person XYZ or teacher XYZ has been done all this, and we are so happy with that. See, we just say carrot and stick concept, or motivation and punishment part, right? That is one carrot that you always need for your motivation. If you're not doing it, how are you managing yourself? Majority of the time, acknowledging your contribution in the official platforms are not happening. So how are you keeping up your motivation level is again the challenge a teachers can, has to carry, of course. Then data and compliances saturation, so many data oriented, statistics oriented work you have to do, is a lot of desk work, right? Maybe a lot of parameters also being given with assessment agencies outside, which is a basic necessity for your survival and your institution survival, so institutions survival. So you have to work with that, and that is consuming good lot of your energy and time. Then hyper accessibility to parents. See, earlier, when a teacher really scolds a child very badly or beats up very badly, then only parents would come to the picture, right? Otherwise, teacher would handle so many things with all those factors. But here, what happens with the technology? Whether the student has come to that particular class or not, the teacher, parent is already sent the message, right? Technology. There are so many private colleges, they are doing that. The academic performance of the student, physical presence in each class, all the details are going to the parents. And me being a parent, you being a parent, it is not very peacefully, connecting the teacher with the parents. They will be having n number of questions, they'll be having n number of clarifications to reach you. And are you providing that space for the parents? You may be expected to do that, but will you be having that energy? Will you be having the time? Are you prepared for that psychologically whenever the parent calls you and you're picking up and attending their requirement? These are some of the things that the current teachers are undergoing. And the second challenge or second parameter that a teacher has to work with is students' mental health and behavioral crisis. As we were discussing, the Gen Zs, I don't say they are bad. I don't say they are very destructive, but their pattern of exposure, whatever they pattern they are exposed to, may be very different from what we carry as teachers. Because the moment you understand yourself as teacher, you'll be imbibed with certain level of values, ethics and all. What kind of values they carry and what we carry may not be the same. There is a wide gap that is creating a lot of confusions, and in the name of mentors, teacher are also asked to address the maybe personal issues, maybe some professional issues by the teacher. I tell you, that is also hampering the teachers by giving, secondary traumatic stress. Because the child is, or a student is facing certain things. You are also, whether you want or not, you're, borrowing certain level of stress on you also, which is called a secondary traumatic stress. It can be, if it is not properly handled, my dear teachers, it is also a disorder. We the teachers are in the vulnerability of landing up with some mental disturbances. Maybe I would call some mental disorders, maybe at the mild or moderate level. may not be severe and profound level, right? But we are vulnerable to all these things. Then acute shortage, support shortage. Of course, the teachers, if the colleague, network is very weak, then the teachers are really, really, really weak. The teach if we are standing together, then our system will be strengthened. The second thing is that support system for the students, like in the in social work. I'm from social work background. In social work, we have called one intervention called school social work, right? In the schools, in the sense, any educational institutions, whichever the level you are working with the students. College social work, we generally term it as school social work. In education system, there'll be some, I mean, if there is a social worker in the college, they will be taking care of their psychological aspects. They'll be looking into, I mean, they give the counseling. They, in case it is very much needed, they go home visit, they make a visit with the student's home. They try to address the special conditions or conditions that require any interventions. Those things will be taken care by the students, I mean the social workers. If such is the case, teachers burden will not be deviated from the knowledge sharing. That is so much important for the teachers as well as the students. And then you have to have different roles, like a teacher, facilitator, mentor. Earlier you were a teacher, then you were an academician, then you were an educator. Now they want to say, with Gen Zs, they want to say you become a facilitator, right? What are the roles you want to play upon? And the mentorship, again, you have to have a personal touch with the student, and that is where secondary traumatic stress can happen to the uh, teachers. And then having all this, teachers are so much burdened, so much carrying heaviness in them. They may attempt the burnout. The stress goes to the higher level, where the teacher will be going beyond their sometimes ethics or values, sometimes screaming at the students, or going yell at the students. And there are so many things that comes out from the teacher. It is so because teacher is expected so many roles in different dimensions at one stretch. So having all these expectations, apart from that, if you don't have proper colleague network, if you don't have uh, quite empathetic authority system around you who can understand your small needs. Sometimes you may have to go half an hour early, or sometimes you may be late for 10 minutes or 15 minutes, right? Are they cooperating with you? The systems which I have seen in some private institutions, if even if you come for late for 5 or 10 minutes, sometimes in the morning, you have to cut a sorry figure and stand in front of the authorities, begging for apologizing the authorities, and all may disturb the confidence level or the security level of the teachers, which can, as I said, neuroscience already has said, your emotional factors are directly reflecting on the students' brain structure and functioning. So that is where even the teachers, students, and the authorities, whomever, however you want to consider authorities, they all have to know what is the requirements of the teachers and the teaching environment. If you come to Gen Z's students, that is one again, a good lot of energy demanding factors, right? According to the 8-second cognitive filter theory, or the concept, Gen Z does not necessarily have a shorter attention span, but they do possess a highly sophisticated, rapid mental filters for content relevance. If you are not giving a proper content, which they are expecting, which they are able to cope up with, right? That sophistication, if you carry, they are very happy with you. Or if you don't allow them to or if you allow them to attempt their own factors, then you are a safe teacher. Otherwise, we feel, oh, our attention span is so less. They will be getting distracted. They are not focused and all that. It's science says it may not be that. It is just that they are not being given or delivered the contents in their style, with their expectations, to their expectations. That is again student. I mean, teacher has to think about how they have to prepare for each class, each hour, and then the instant gratification loop is another factor where the Gen Zs are accustomed with rapid information delivery. Like, now they don't want to listen to 40 hours of lecture. See, I'm talking from past 35, 40 minutes, and we all are listening that. But Gen Zs cannot do that. They just want instant information, instant delivery of, goods. So that is, are we coping up with that? Is our syllabus or our teaching structure, whatever approved by the authorities, is that really coping with that students' expectation? Is again a challenge with the students. Of course, we have to go according to the structure and we are doing it. But students, what are they expecting? Since we are not reaching their expectations, maybe a gap is being developed between the teacher and the student today. And then low tolerance for ambiguity. If you're not clear about your thoughts, if you're not clear about the knowledge you're carrying, then it is Gen Zs are not with us. Of course, yes, no. They quickly zone out, they go into their world, or as I said, they'll be seeking information elsewhere online, sitting in your own class, they'll be browsing on the mobile what we are trying to say, and they are already reached the conclusion about the topic we are handling. So whether it is the tolerance level of the students, or it is the preparedness to reach Gen Z's, the teachers format, whatever that is, both are there on the structure, both are there in the class, and we cannot blame who are wrong, or we cannot say somebody is right or so wrong. It is again quite debatable. I mean, it really demands a lot of debate, like because it is quite subjective in nature. Because students, how they are feeling, it is subjective to him, and how we are prepared and what type of delivery we are rendering to the students. Again, it is our subject, our personality, our attitude, and our knowledge level. So it is two different personalities sitting together with all that, you know, generation gap, after COVID effect, the gadget addiction. There are several things that is coming in between the present generation and the teachers. Then passive learning resistance is another factor, where sage on the stage, they reject the concept sage on the stage. I'm very good. I'm the model figure. I'm a teacher. You have to. I mean, they are not for that. That value system they may not be carrying. They may be into some other value system we may not be very well versed with, right? So this type of gap through this digital hyper distractions, or digital hyper involvement, is making a huge gap between the teaching and learning. And this FOMO is another concept that these Gen Zs generally carry. FOMO is fear of missing out. So they just want to have a network among themselves. Of course, this we too had in our age, but we were not going beyond the wordings of a teacher or the parents, I mean, if you remember your adolescence or early adulthood, young adulthood, you also feel, you also can remember that we also wanted our friends around. We wanted to have our own group and hang on and all those things. But today, it has become a mental health issue. They are fearing of being away from the network. That is the students' mentality right now. So just to please or to be in their group, they may avoid learning from a particular teacher or from a method of teaching or whatever. So if somebody says, oh, the teacher is not good, and the whole group is carrying that for no reason, right? These are some of the networking, weakness they have. I mean, for us, it is weakness. For them, it is strength, of course. Then they are gadget addicted, and as I said, online they are instantly having their information and too many information, right? So it is the overloaded information is creating fatigue in them. They are tired of, so they are already into fatigue, and we are also talking to them 40 minutes or an hour daily. So it may not be very effective when they are having this fragile mental health. It is not very diluted, very easygoing format they are carrying right now. Whereas we, the teachers, we are very serious. We want to deliver whatever we know, and kind of, which is not matching again. So this is the performance anxiety from our side, and overloaded fatigue, information overloaded fatigue with their side. This is making a good lot of cynicism. It is creating kind of a cynicism in the classroom environment. But just tell me, who are really uh, mm, uh, responsible for that? We being teachers, what is our responsibility then to handle this? For me, in my experience, I've listed out some of the elements to share with you. Maybe you may be having different kinds of self-help techniques also with you. Please share once I finish these slides. The first thing is emotional interplay, right? We need to be very, very conscious in handling the emotional aspects of the students and ourselves, our emotions also. See, closeness, being very close to the students, how good is that is my question, because I have seen teachers putting their shoulders around the students' shoulder, and hanging out with the students, talking very liberally with the students, having no gap between teacher and student. They say the teacher is my friend, right? So how to what extent we can encourage this? I mean, this is how I perceive things, that I personally feel there has to be a minimal gap between the teacher and the students. At least physical gap, if not mental gap, at least physical gap. But that physical gap is also getting violated. And to what extent we, the teachers, are responsible for such mannerisms, behaviors, or functioning, I don't know. You people, the young teachers, need to tell me back about this. And then handling the conflict. I have seen many teachers, experienced teachers, handling conflict, right? Sometimes they will be doubling the conflict level than decreasing it or handling it positively. So because that is maybe not intentionally, no, a teacher will do that. But this the gap, whatever we have discussed all this time, may not be I don't say even teacher will not understand that, may not be taken very seriously, right? Maybe the authority has been functioning by the teacher than the, because the leadership qualities also varies from teacher to teacher. There are, like, autocratic leadership. There are democracy will not come, but very strong kind of a leadership. There'll be dominating kind of a leadership. There are different kinds of leadership also you carry when you are a teacher and entering into the classroom. So what kind of a leadership you carry may also reflecting on your conflict resolution capacity. So that is, again, teacher has to be self-helped. We need to know how to handle the conflict, whether to neutralize or to taking it off, or to neglect it, whatever the kind of. But we need to be more conflicted. That is how we have to help ourselves. The teachers has no other go than helping ourselves. That is how I feel, because you cannot ask the authorities or the management or the government to help you in handling the class. You are a teacher and you are expected to do that, right? But the classrooms do not remain as the same, because change is very common. Change is always permanent. So with the change scenario, handling all these things without the proper support system is a challenge for any teacher. So having that very consciously, we have to help ourselves, right? So in that factor, emotional scaffolding is one of the thing. teachers adjusting their own emotional response to aid students' comprehensions. So we need to keep ourselves emotionally updated, emotionally consciously prepared to go and touch the students. That is the factor. Whether you are down for the day, whether you are not physically healthy for the day, whether you are drained out for the day, but still by end of the day, a student comes with some of his problems and you cannot deny attending his problems. Then we need to protect ourselves. Nobody will come to our rescue. Ultimately, nobody says teachers are exhausted by end of the day, so they might have not attended the student. They would say, definitely teacher should have done that. Why did they, rejected or neglected or whatever the word you want to take? We are captured with that word. And okay, then technical forms. These are the emotional forms or social forms or personal level preparedness the teacher has to have or equip to help themselves. And when it comes to the professional platform, work life, see earlier the terminology was work life balance, right? You have to balance both. That is what the expectations were. Now they say work life separation. You don't have to balance. Keep this away and keep this away. When you are here completely. When you are there completely. So that is a current expectations from the teachers. So teaching life is no more simple, no more the same as maybe a decade or two. We need to completely change our perception, completely change our attitude to cater the present generation. Are we equipped to that adaptation? You are safe. If you're not, like the next time management tools, uh, I'm working hard, may not give you the result. You may have to work smart now with the students. So are you ready for the smartness? Do you equip all the knowledge to be smart? That is again in the AI era, you need to, we have to help ourselves. Then non-evaluation support spaces. Non-evaluation is non-judgmental. You have to have a support system which does not look into whether you are right or wrong or whatever. Right or wrong in the second part. First part, don't worry, we are there, we'll sort it out. Is there any such elements which stands with us to support us or to be a support system to us in any case? May not be always. See, we cannot generalize the things here, right? Sometimes yes, sometimes may not be. Then you have to be ready to help yourself. That is how the teaching system has come in now. It is no more an easy task. It is not a kind of teaching and be good to the students and good to the parents. Not no chance at all, because each individual is unique and having their own capacities. So having overloaded capacities to students and the parents, and having a very less capacity parents and the teachers, you have to be equipped to address all those. So you should know where to be up above, and you should know how to understand and work with the grassroots level students and the community. So for that, self-efficacy is very important. The dynamism in your personality, dynamism in your communication, dynamism in your professional administration is so much important. You may be just a teacher, but you may have to handle so many administrative issues also, directly or indirectly, and you have to equip that efficacy. Otherwise, it may not be possible at all, right? And then your responsibility also falls on supporting the students with their psychological safety, then balancing their cognitive element, and then making them socially fit, and then accessing them, observing them holistic, observing their holistic development. So it is not one or two or three responsibilities a teacher has today. They are attacked with multiple dimensions, and they are expected to have one such caliber to handle all this hits from different dimensions. So ultimately, what I personally feel, I being a teacher, you all being teachers, we may have to stick on to the vision, mission, alignment of whichever the institutions we are working for. And the second thing is child safety and protection, legally also, ethically also, it is the responsibility of the teachers. And possessing the positive behavioral interventions, that is, as I said, handling conflict, setting clear classroom rules. Here I'm a bit specific. College rules, college, what expecting from you in the classroom may be something XYZ, but you have to set your own ABC too. That is where you will be having, my classroom will be like this. Next 1 hour, when Kumudini is entering into the classroom, she is expecting this, and my responsibility is this. That communication has to go to the students, and we need to do that. Otherwise, creating respect driven spaces will be a challenge. Nobody respects. See, I'm a teacher, you respect me. That time is gone. Now the Gen Zs are not in that pace at all. You are not demanding, you're creating a space or an environment where you are respected. That is how the challenging environment created all over. So you need to be, it's not you, we the teacher fraternity need to be prepared for all these things. There is no alternatives, or you just, we don't have any alternatives for that. You have to be that. Then make inclusive classroom support. I mean, there are diversions in the students, deviations in the students, whether that is geographically, sexually, or academic performance, whatever, you have to be acting as an inclusive, acting on an inclusive classroom. So you are not neglecting anybody. You have to be, just imagine how much efforts you have to put in for being a teacher today, and what are the demands that is around us, which we cannot deny, which we cannot say no, which we cannot say wrong to, right? So this is where the conflicts of ethical conflicts or value-based conflicts, all these things are coming in between, and we need to be extra careful in handling all these things. This is how I understand the the topic captioned very recently. That is the teaching learning environment and the wellness in that. Unless we understand this whole thing, probably we may not be able to be the good teachers, not good human beings, not a good family member, because all three dimensions are interconnected, right? With this, I just wind up my presentation. And if you want to share anything from your point of view, I'm just eagerly waiting for your inputs also, and maybe a discussion, or if you want to know more about from my dimension, most welcome. Yes, please. Any more questions or any more to add or question or debate on? No?
Mhm.
Yeah.
This is Dr. Suraj Kumar Saw from West Bengal.
Yes, sir, please.
Ma'am, whatever issues you raised, they are
Hmm.
all obviously very relevant.
Hmm.
But do you think the load will decrease? Because I am not seeing that the load is going to be decrease, going to decrease in coming future. Because the system, as you mentioned, that it is becoming more learner centric or student centric.
Correct.
So when I was a student in 2004, I was a first year student.
Yes, sir.
I was in 2004. I was a first year student, and then I saw my professors and teachers